welcome to my views and news. Dangerous development in the Amhara region of Ethiopia, where we know that security situation is deteriorating, or you can say that several things are happening on the ground which are pointing towards deterioration of security situation if things are not handled properly. Uh, a few weeks ago, Ethiopian government decided to disband regional special forces. We saw that in Amhara region, people protested against that decision. Before that, disarmament, demobilization of Fano militia began last year in Ethiopia. And since then, thousands of Fano fighters have been disarmed, arrested. Some fled to forests, mountains, started resistance there. Fano commanders were arrested, some are on the run. People like Zaminakase in prison. It started last year. Then this year, Amhara Special Force was disbanded. ASF members refused to comply. Some they joined Fano. They did not hand over their weapons, but large number of Amhara Special Force members they were disarmed, or you can say they are now being integrated into other forces, regional and federal. And back then, when the announcement of disbandment of regional special forces was made, it was said that there will be only police in regions, police and prison police, and on federal level, police, federal police, and Ethiopian National Defense Force. There is no room, no need for other forces. But if you remember, a few days ago, I said that Ethiopian government, Ethiopian army, they were planning to raise militias to fight Amhara Fano fighters. Now we have received details of this new militia raised in a district. It means that other districts are also raising similar militias. Why is that Ethiopian army is raising this new militia? Reason is simple, because Ethiopian army does not want to be seen launching operation against Fano. It wants some force to be on the front, because whenever Ethiopian army tried to launch major operation in the Amhara region against Fano fighters, former Amhara Special Force members, we saw that people resisted. People supported Fano. They stood between Ethiopian army and Fano fighters. That is why Ethiopian army could not arrest Mesafint. It could not launch a major operation in Shoa, in Gojam too. And on the other hand, Fano fighters, former Amhara special members, they're organizing themselves. They're forming big groups. We saw that Skandar Naga announced the formation of Amhara Popular Front, APF, or Amhara People Front. In Gajam, he's organizing Fano fighters. In Gondar area, Mesafint is there, Gondar Brigade was established. In Shoa, Blatashigao already heading Fano fighters in Wallo too. So, Ethiopian army decided to raise militias. Now we have received pictures and videos from one Wareda of the Amhara region, where training of this new militia has been completed, and now this militia will be deployed to maintain law and order situation. How long was the training? Who trained this militia? Where will the militia members be deployed? We have seen pictures from Javi Wareda. Javi Wareda is part of Ago Avi zone of the Amhara region. If you remember, in the past 3 to 4 days, I've been updating you about Fano's presence in Ago-Avi zone, in Gujjam, in Matakan. They're trying to establish a sort of government, you can say, in these areas. They tried to take control of Ihuda town in Ago-Avi zone a few days ago. They carried out an attack. And after that, we saw that Oyo City Council issued a statement. Justice and Democracy Party, AGO, Justice and Democracy Party, issued a statement calling for public protests against Fano's attacks in Ago-Avi zone, mainly from Gujjam side. Now, in Javi Warada, which is part of Ago-Avi zone, Ethiopian army has trained around 800 militia members. A ceremony was held in Javi Warada, attended by Ethiopian army officers. Theodros, who is the commander of Ethiopian army in this area, spoke and he confirmed the training of around 800 members of this new militia. I think around 100 are women. How long was the training? 20 days. Was the training about weapon handling? Yes. Militia members were told how to handle weapons. Oh, question is, how can you train a militia in just 20 days? Even 20 days, not enough for weapon handling. I learned weapon handling. I know how it is done. 20 days, just nothing. How can you train a militia? How can you arm the militia after just 20-day long training? It means they were just told how to fire. And now these militia members will be working under Ethiopian army. Because in this zone, in Javi Warada, Ago-Avi zone, nearby Gujjam, Matakal, Ethiopian army is facing challenge from Skandar Naga-led Fano fighters. That is why if in one Wareda 800 militia members have been recruited, you can imagine how many have been recruited in entire Amhara region. Thousands, tens of thousands rather. Who will pay the salaries? Obviously the militia members will pay it. No one works for free. Someone will have to pay the salaries. Obviously Ethiopian government. So on the one hand, Ethiopian government disbanded regional special forces. On the other hand, new militias are being raised by Ethiopian army in Amhara region. And this zone is a very sensitive zone, keeping in view past tensions between Agos and Amharas. And when these militias become stronger, they then announce independence, they start working independently, and then they turn into sort of Fano militia type militia, and then government launches a crackdown. So one militia is being disbanded, disarmed, another militia is being raised. That is why I say it's a very dangerous development in the Amhara region. Ethiopian army wants to use militia members in the operation against Fano. It could pit locals against each other. And a burden, an increased burden on economy. Why can't Ethiopian army handle law and order situation? Why can't police handle law and order issues in Amhara region? Why is there need for a new militia? Isn't it an increased burden on already endangered economy, which is looking for a bailout package from the West for survival? No one is questioning this strategy. If militias are raised, it would not lead to peace in the Amhara region. Rather, we could see more problems. Militia members sometimes, as I said earlier, they violate the code of conduct which they have to follow because they haven't received proper training. They were just taught how to shoot, and now they'll be used by security forces. Overall, a very bad decision, a dangerous decision. Raising of militias to fight armed groups has been a strategy of Ethiopian army. It's not something new, by the way. It has been happening in Oromia. It has been happening in BG too, I think. I remember more than a year ago, I did a video about raising of a militia in BG to counter Gumus fighters. And back then I opposed that raising of armed militias is a dangerous trend in Ethiopia. So Ethiopian army is not breaking with its tradition of using militias to fight armed factions. Just yesterday we saw demonstrations in support of Ethiopian army in entire Oromia, in parts of Oromia, Sidama and SNNPR. An army officer said during speeches at the rallies that Ethiopian army was fully capable of defending the country, of neutralizing internal threats. So where is this fully capable Ethiopian army if it has to rely on these thousands of new recruits, unskilled, who are going to be used to crush Fano fighters, it seems. Let's see what happens. So far, I see it as a dangerous development happening in the Amhara region. Thanks for watching.